All right. Well, I think we're good. Happy Friday. Happy March. We haven't seen each other since February, the Valentine's Day edition. I don't know. I probably could have called this, I don't know, I could have called it the Ides of March edition, maybe the March Madness edition. I don't know. I wasn't I wasn't thinking ahead. Anyway, glad to see you for another edition of Cute for Teams, Champions Using Teams Effectively. If you're on live, as always, you can come off mute, use the chat if you want to talk to me. Stacy may or may not be joining us, not sure, today. And again, we're here. If this is your first time, we're just here to geek out on teams and collaboration and talk about best practices and features and things like that. So if this is your first time live or on demand, welcome, and happy to chat with you. Consider this office hours, essentially. But all that being said, I always have something to talk about. So if there aren't any questions, again, if there are, have at it. But if there aren't, I did have some things to talk about. One of which was literally just minutes ago as I was firing up my demo environment, and I was opened up Teams here and noticed the new kind of announcement right in my face about the targeted release stuff. So there is some new stuff in here being listed. Again, targeted release, so not yet general availability, but coming soon. And if you are on a tenant that is, you've checked the box for getting targeted release features, you may start to see some of these. So I can close this because I opened it up here as well. But I was going to kind of go through this. That was new to me, right? It popped up in my face, just a few minutes ago. So I thought it might be interesting to go through that. So while you guys are thinking about any specific questions, I will kind of take a look at this and see if anything looks cool here. And of course, as you're watching, if you see something that's cool, let me know. Shout it out. But the first one here about editing your display name in the meetings could be cool. So your edited name will remain throughout the duration of the meeting. To change your name, select people, participants pane, hover, so on and forth. To me, just right off the top of my head, this is not, like even in this meeting, we use the feature in Teams that actually hides attendee meetings, just because not all of you may want, your full name shown in the recording. Not that we usually tend to show that, but just in case, right? I just hide that. To take that even further, though, this would give you the opportunity, let's say you're okay with your name, but maybe not your full name. You just want to put your first name. And that could be not just this meeting, but any meeting. I could see the value of that, putting your first name or putting, maybe first name and company in parentheses, or title, all those kind of things. Even for the organizer, like me as the organizer of this meeting, that'd be cool to know where you're from, putting your state in parentheses, something like that. That would be pretty cool. Adds some value to the meeting, especially for someone who is either the organizer or the presenter. I'm one of those presenters that likes to watch the people pane as I'm presenting. I think I was talking about that last session. I've got enough real estate that I can pop windows open all over. So that would be cool to me, to not just see names, but to see a little more about you. Again, we're all from different tenants and things, so the default's going to be full name, but that would be nice. So I kind of like that feature. I think that could be cool. Let me just do something here. All right, cool. Yep. So I don't know if you agree or like that feature, maybe a thumbs up or something. Let me know. But yeah, that's a small one, but could potentially be a good one. I see, one of you said our board would love this. They would put what district they represent, like Joe Cool - District X. Yep. I like that. That's a good point. Yeah. Board meetings or any large meetings or things like that. Yeah, I can see. So that, such a super kind of a small feature, but lots of possibilities there. for just what I call like a quality of life improvement. It's not any significant game changing thing, but it's a quality of life thing. It would just adds a little, what do they say, je ne sais quoi. Oh boy, I'm all over the place with the language stuff today. Anyway, yeah, I like that. It's a good stuff. DVR and town halls. And I remember, we used to have, or maybe still have, I haven't used live events in a while, but that DVR feature where you essentially come in to a live session but could rewind, kind of go back even though it's live and catch up and all that stuff. It's now being added to town halls. So pause, rewind, skip forward, and previously streamed content during the event. Yeah. So you can learn more there, but I like that. I always did like that feature. So that's nice. Storyline in Teams is something I have been using myself. What that is essentially, for those that use Viva Engage, Storyline is like your own personal Viva Engage area. That's your own personal board, let's say, for your posts. And so that's been there a while, but to have that directly in Teams, and in fact, does mine have that? So if you go to chat and go to yourself, there's the storyline, which was recently added. So this is like a Viva Engage storyline, but it's here in, easily accessible. I use storyline a lot, as you might imagine. I do like to share stuff about myself to colleagues and things, because I got all of these YouTubes and blog posts and all that. But before this, it was a matter of going over to Engage. You can see a little button there. And then finding, I think it's, I forget where it was, but it used to, it was, I think it's just here. But going into Engage to find my storyline and then to post, but now to be able to do that here is just another added convenience. So that's nice. So connect with colleagues and leadership from your org right in Teams. Yeah, it's good stuff. Just scroll through here because I did notice this one, together mode, setting the scene in together mode. I'm curious. Has anybody? So together mode's been around a while. Has anybody used that on the regular? Maybe a thumbs up or anything, or used it ever? Okay. Together mode to me is, and for those that maybe don't know what it is, it's essentially, and I don't know. I see on the chat you used it to a team picture. That is where I see it used most. So just to make sure we're on the same page, together mode is, it'd be hard to show here, but if I fire up a meeting, meet now, just start this up and join. Together mode is a view where I go here and will it work in this environment? Yep, choose a scene and you get those seats. And so let me choose something like this for 5 people and apply. And so if the 5 people were in, or if my demo environment even had me, if I could get my video in here, I would be at the seat along with the other people. And let's see here. Yeah. And so to your point in the chat there, team pictures is definitely where I've seen it used the most, at the end of a meeting. Turn on together mode and use that view with the bunch of folks. Let me go here. Oops, clicking around too much. Together mode. The one with a bunch of folks and then everybody, kind of pauses as somebody screenshots that. So that's where I see it. I don't see it used as much in just my normal regular meetings in general. I'm looking forward to the day when that becomes more popular. In addition to if you've heard of, the mesh or the VR spaces that you can have your team meetings in. I have been in a couple of those, but really only to try it out. I haven't seen anybody go all in and actually have a meeting there. It is cool, especially if you've got a headset or you've got at least speakers that can do stereo. I mean, you can kind of hear if somebody's talking to your right, it sounds like they're coming from the right, all that kind of stuff. So it's cool stuff, but I just haven't seen it take off quite that big. So that's an interesting one. Let me close that. Interesting one there. So it's together mode. They're still making some innovations there, including assigning seats, which is kind of cool too. Cool. I'm gonna kind of go through here. Activity feed with that mentions. Preview files where they're shared has been nice. So this is when, and I don't know, let's see if I can get this to work. When you are, let's see, I'm chatting here and I want to share a document. Let's attach something here. This should work. Let's go with this one. The preview of that document is pretty nice. Not just a thumbnail, but an actual click through it. This comes along. Yep, click through the actual slides in that PowerPoint in this case, or PDF, or whatever the document may be, before I even open it up. So that's pretty nice. It's the thumbnail alone is nice just to get a feel for what is somebody sharing with me, but then too to kind of go through it like that without the full-blown opening of it. In fact, I'll send it. Is pretty cool. So I don't know if you've tried this out. You can see it gets a little bigger. So I could actually really read this. My eyes are still good enough to see that small text. So I could read this without ever having to open it, and that's kind of nice. And of course, I could, if I wanted to, go ahead and open it in Teams or the full app or the browser. So yeah, I have enjoyed that feature. Go back. Any thumbs up on that feature? Or maybe have you seen that yet? Because February 11th, if you, well, I guess it could still be targeted release, but if you are on a target release, you certainly would have that by now. All right, let's see, meeting transcript enhancements. Better transcription accuracy is nice. Access to spoken language settings, mismatch language notifications. We know, the organizer will be notified if someone speaks a different language than the one selected in the spoken language sections. Yep, I have seen that happen. So I don't know if people have this a lot. I happen to have a lot of global customers, and so this has been useful. If you haven't used that, I mean, it gets pretty cool. I know the coolest thing out right now, if you've seen from, I think it was Ignite or something, or the commercials where AI is actually giving a voice to the person and you're hearing it, let's say in English, in real time while they're talking another language, and it's all that's the coolest version of this whole language piece. But I use the live captions often, and I've had people on a meeting who have switched mid talk between English and another language, and the transcription keeps up and keeps giving me English even though they've switched it. I was pretty impressed by that one. So that's pretty useful. So yeah, it's very, very cool stuff going on in the transcription, live caption, and language translation area. And I'll say that one more time, because when I get questions from customers, I do like to point that out. In the whole language teams and language, there is usually these three areas that, what is your question? Is it the captions? Is it the transcription? Or is it the translation? Or some combination of the three, right? Live or captions is something that's happening during the meeting just for you. It's not going to persist. Transcription is going to persist. And then what language do you want that in? And then translation is also is in the meeting, but could also apply to the transcription because you can change the language of the transcript as well. So I don't know if you have dived into that or had a need for that in your org, but that especially in global companies where offices are in all these different countries, that becomes a topic of interest. How do I make those adjustments? And it's cool that there are all those different kinds of adjustments. Nothing else, even if you're not in a global org, captioning is good. Well, captioning and transcription. Obviously, transcription for recordings and using Copilot for your meeting summaries, intelligent recap. But captioning is good as well. I just like, having a text version of what I'm hearing just to make sure I'm hearing it right, for lack of a better word. So that's a good one. That's a big one. And if that's a topic of interest, I could do that because to talk about all of that in depth would take a whole session. So if that's something of interest, maybe let me know in the chat or something like that. Cool. Smarter way to recap events. Intelligent recaps now available after Teams, Town Hall, webinars. AI generated notes. Yep. So Teams Premium, Intelligent Recap. We actually just kind of talked about that. End events for everyone with one click. So we've always had in fact, I think I just showed it in the meeting I was in. We've always had that end meeting for a regular Teams meeting. I think this is specific to now doing that same thing with town halls, webinars, and other types of meetings. I think that's what that is. And then we get down to what we actually talked about last time, the resizing Teams windows. And so, yeah, this was our last week. So, yeah, so new stuff from March. Cool stuff there. Thought that was interesting. All right. Again, that's targeted release, public preview. You'd only see that if your tenant has clicked the button to allow those kind of things. All right. Good stuff there. All right. And I can get out of there. The other thing I was just thinking about in our last few minutes together here is I was wondering if people are my dear friend SharePoint, those that have been on this call over the years, knows I'm a big SharePoint geek. Before I was a Copilot geek and then a Teams geek, and back in the day I was a SharePoint geek. And so I was just thinking about if SharePoint's still getting a lot of use from everyone. I mean, we have so many places to collaborate now, Teams and SharePoint, and even Viva, Engage, and Connections and things like that. So certainly SharePoint is still our document repository. That's our high-end premium place to do our documents. And of course, that's always available on that Files tab. So we still got that there. But in terms of using SharePoint as a landing page, so basically like this home page, and if we go there, hello, landing page with all the images and posting new messages, are people basically using the internet? Because what I was thinking about is specifically Viva Engage. If we come back over here, Viva Engage is another one-to-many place, but it's also a many-to-many, right? As the name implies, it's where you can engage with the content, not just receive it like SharePoint. So, but the question then becomes, well, if I've got Engage, why do I need my SharePoint team? Or if I've got my Microsoft Teams team, or if I've got Teams, why do I need Engage? So depending on kind of what you're using, it's always that question, what to use when. What I do tend to say is, Teams is, as the name implies, for a team. Engage can be used to be more broad. So I might be on the, what do we have here? I might be on the production support. Let's see. Let's try to find a good example here. Let's say the production support team for, Project X. But I also like to broadly share things about product Project X with the rest of the org, not just people on that team. And so maybe then I do a Project X community, where maybe we share updates about Project X, and the rest of the org can then engage, as the name implies, with that post or that content. So that's where where I see Teams and Engage coexisting. They have different purposes. One is meant to be more broad and for more engagement across that broad community. But then SharePoint, I think is still good for, this page is a very rich, like high fidelity, way to kind of be really creative with how you display content. Unlike Engage is more forum style. But here I can start laying out this, very elaborate, page. I can engage with content here. I mean, we do have on most pages a comment section, but it's not the kind of engagement really that Engage really gives. So while can be broad like Engage, I think it is not meant as much for the many-to-many engage. I keep using the same word, engagement, that Engage, really applies. So I see a world where all three are used and they all have their different functions. And that is the world that, internally that exists for us. We have very active intranet pages, very active Engage communities, and very active teams all across maybe even one particular topic. We find a way to use all of those, and they all have their purpose. So hopefully, though, you're all still fans of good old SharePoint. It is, even though newer tools come and go, SharePoint's been my buddy for quite some time. So good old SharePoint. Since I'm talking about Engage, I just will call out, when you're talking about that Teams and Engage functionality, I'll go to a channel here. I can add an Engage tab. Yep, allow that. It's the Viva Engage community, or even a topic. That'd be a whole nother conversation to kind of describe what topics are. But I may not even have any communities in here. That's unfortunate. All or general. Yeah, I should have made an actual community. My Engage is empty in this environment. But what I was trying to show is it has a very nice little integration. The tab shows that community, and now it's right there within Teams. Again, one less click to get there. Probably two, because it would be clicking Viva Engaged, hitting the home page, and then clicking on the particular community that you want. So, yeah, I don't have any communities in here. So next time I want to talk about Engage, I should probably prepare some actual stuff in here. So lesson learned. All right, good stuff. All right, in the chat we say we use Teams and SharePoint depending on the audience. Work trackers are real popular. Okay, awesome. Good stuff. All right. Well, we're about that time. Again, glad you could join for the March edition of Cute for Teams. Again, as always, if you are trying to see previous sessions, they are all at aka.ms/Cute4Teams, and which is where you go to get the link to join us. And all the sessions are here. Actually, not all of them, because this is a new blogging platform I'm using, so I got most of them. But if you need the full playlist, you click that, and you'll get 4 years worth. So over 132 videos as of this one. So appreciate you joining us. Those of you that have been along for the ride the whole time, appreciate you. Glad it's bringing value. Tell your friends, and other than that, we'll see each other again for the April edition. All right. So good stuff, everybody. Have a great Friday, great weekend.